Okay, hello everybody. Welcome into this episode of Unwritten. I'm your co-host, Colin McGuire, along with Jess, Jess, or Jessica. It's one of the two, Wilt. And would you like to explain this very special guest we have today?
So in the light of the Olympics and the homecoming of Vicky Bullett, we have hometown hero of Martinsburg, Vicky Bullett.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
That's good. Now you have from what I understand, a long and very decorated career, which we can get into. And of course, this all relates to basketball, and we'll start with that. You seem to have had a life in athletics and in sports. Do you remember the first time you kind of fell in love with a sport?
Yeah, it always takes me back knowing that I had 6 brothers to look up to, but it was just in my backyard. My brothers played, and I kind of just wanted to stay, close to them and enjoy the game. So, being in the backyard of my home, and that's where I grew up, really start participating in the sport.
Did you take to it right away? Did you know that you would be exceptionally good at all of this?
Well, no, at the time it was just, my parents getting us out of the house, most likely. So, our dad was pretty much sports oriented. So every Christmas he would either buy basketball, baseball, gloves, anything that to keep us active. But once you started seeing improvements, then of course it became a habit. So I wanted to practice all the time just to get better.
And then I think I read, was it your brothers played baseball, was it?
Yeah, I have, I think Scotty's a year and a half younger than myself, and he actually played we all played different sports, but yeah, Scotty got drafted to play for the Pittsburgh Pirates, then on to play for the Cubs. So yeah, he was an exceptional athlete as well, and he got to play with top players, Sammy Sosa, and I'm trying to think of the gentleman, Barry Bonds. So yeah, he was great too.
And Jess, yeah, go ahead, Jess. I'm sorry.
You're good. Given the amount of siblings, and I know your brother Donnie, of course, from his coaching career. What kind of rivalry did you guys have? Were you always trying to one up each other?
Well, actually, you know what? It was more of a team thing. I think with Don, he was an instructor before he knew he was. So we were competitive. We wanted to win, but we also wanted to play together. So I think, having that opportunity, just gave us, that competitive nature. But yeah, my oldest brother and Matthew actually were probably the most competitive of all. But yeah, we got in there and wanted to rough each other up.
And that just adds to your approach on the basketball court then, growing up with the boys.
Yeah, true. I don't think too many of the girls in my neighborhood wanted to play, and they didn't want to get dirty. So I could care less. It was fun and I enjoyed it, and I wanted to be a part of it. How many kids you got? Oh my gosh, I got it. I'm working, so I've got the radio on. I figure out how to cut it off.
Did that, Jess, I thought you had something.
No, you're good. Go ahead, Colin.
I just, was there a point where you thought, I want to pursue this professionally? I want athletics to be my life?
Well, no, actually I didn't. I just played. I think to that point, Don was really good with not allowing the sport, to put as much pressure. And today you can see a lot of these athletes are having a tough time, but I just enjoyed it. I had no idea where, being a part of this sport would take me. And I didn't know it until I guess I got to college, and I played through high school, just had a great time. And then, have an opportunity to get a scholarship. I just kind of followed in my footsteps of preparation through Don. And then, making that Olympic team, just was like, open up my eyes that, hey, what else can I do? But, before the WNBA came, that was it. After college, where do you go next besides overseas? So it wasn't even a dream to accomplish what I've done with the sport. It was just a process, a journey.
I'm glad you brought up the Olympics, and I guess, that's a reason why we wanted to have you on. And the most obvious thing to begin with, of course, is the Simone Biles situation and pulling out of these competitions. What, just overall, what is your thought on that? And sort of, it's the same thing with Naomi Osaka, the idea of mental health being the primary concern for them. And these are some of the best athletes of all time in their sports. What do you think about that?
Well, it's troubling just to think that, I don't think I went through that. And, and as an athlete then, I don't think the pressure was as bad then. It wasn't as global. We didn't have social media. So that could put a lot of pressure on an athlete, to perform because everybody's watching. I don't understand. I mean, I understand that, the mental health exists, but I can't process it because it's never happened to me. The only thing that troubled me was just, going out of the country and not having, my mom cook my meals. That's just about it. But to know that it's real for these young athletes, and, these are caliber athletes right now. They're everywhere. If you say their name, even if you don't follow the sport, you know who they are. And it's unfortunate that they, are not enjoying what they're doing because there's so much pressure. And, and I hope all of these athletes are able to recover because their story is special. And hopefully, the pressure doesn't start young. A lot of our young people, even at 12 years old, are struggling because, even there's parent pressure, there's coach pressure. I didn't have that. My brother said, have fun. If you can't come home, win or lose, and be happy, then that sport may not be for you.
That's interesting. And that kind of speaks, you touched on it a little bit, but the idea of going to the Olympics seems daunting no matter what. This year is obviously a little different because of the pandemic. And so there are no fans there. Can you speak to that difference at all? Like if you were going to the Olympics and there were no fans, how would that affect your performance?
See, I guess for me, I don't know. I was a shy individual, so having the fans not there would have been better. So once you get on that court and that platform, you kind of get in your zone. I mean, every athlete will feed off the noise and, to give them energy. But if you don't have that intrinsic motivation, then you can't be dominate within your own self. That's how I looked at it. The fans, of course they were there, they were essential, but, you drove your own bus. So having the fans there or not there, when I played, it didn't, justify how I was going to play. I was going to play hard regardless. And, everybody talks about being in that zone. And I think most athletes get in that error where if they're in that zone, they can do what they do best.
The women's team went into this Olympics with great things expected from them. Have you gotten a chance to catch up on the team at all?
Yeah, I mean, through social media as much. I'm not sure if everybody's connected watching the Olympics because of the time. A lot of the games are really late, but you catch it on the repeats, which is good. And I've been following it. I just heard about, Simone Biles yesterday. Unfortunately, I love to watch swimming, basketball, of course. I try to catch on some of the sports that I'm like the skateboard. I didn't even know skateboarding was in the Olympics. So I'm like, whoa. But yeah, a lot of things are there that I'm just trying to keep up. And I think it's going to get better. I think right now, everybody's coming back from that, the COVID. So it's putting a strain on the athletes and the anticipation. And hopefully, with time, everyone will recover. But it's great. I love to watch. I just love to watch the new uniforms and all the good stuff. And it's just so much about the Olympics that bring back memories that, still, I put myself in their shoes sometimes.
Do you have a favorite memory from either of your Olympics? I know there's probably a million of them.
Yeah, and it's funny because I just told one the other day that you can't, I can still remember how it felt, winning the game, but then transferring, that win to put it on your, gold medal your uniform to stand on the podium and cross your heart and, listen to the flag. Always bring back so many emotions. Right now I'm emotional about it. But it's an experience that only the great Olympians have the opportunity to experience.
Can you kind of take us through the mechanics of what it's like to compete at the Olympics? Like how early do you get to the country? what's it like to stay in the village? All those things. Was it sort of a fish out of water type situation where you're like, wow, this is new?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was just like going to college. You know, you got to pack your bags and you're going into a facility that just has a bed and whatever else. So the transition was fun because you're with your team. You're on the same page with the goal. And, you know, you're going to a foreign country. It took us forever to get there, it felt like, because, you know, we just anticipating the travel. And, you know, do we have enough gas to get there? It was just it's a whole bunch of things. But going to Seoul, Korea and Barcelona was really special. And, you know, once we got there, it was, you know, I mean, your business, but you want to have fun. You want to enjoy the opportunity, you know, the friendships that come along with it. And I think once you get on that court, again, you put yourself in that zone. And I think that's something I've always done. You know, when I'm set to do something, you separate your mentality with, you know, with the task you got to reach. And, you know, just, it's great. I mean, I still remember because I have pictures, so I go back and reminisce a lot and, you know, be able to explain to my nephews and nieces about the, you know, about just the world being a part of the Olympics. You know, it doesn't come for everybody, but, you know, I'm able to talk about it.
What was it like to march in the opening ceremony?
Well, that was fun. That was really fun. Just, you know, it's overwhelming. And then in 88, 92, there's just so many people in so many different countries and, you know, looking at their attire and, you know, how everybody just represent their country with so much spirit. And the fact that, you know, United States has always been the top notch teams. And, you know, it was great. It was huge. I never thought I'd ever have the opportunity to experience something, but it was overwhelming.
You know, you recently returned home to work with the Boys and Girls Club, but kind of where your basketball career started. Do these kids know who they're working with, who's hanging out around with them?
It's funny because, you know, they have, you know, a picture of me up there, but these young people, they weren't born when I played, but their parents, once they knew that I was at the Boys and Girls Club, they would tell their story. So the next day was like, oh my gosh, you guys don't even know who she is. Oh my gosh, she played in the Olympics. You know, and the first question I get from the kids, they would say, are you rich? Are you famous? It's so funny. So then we have our summer camp had an Olympic week. So I brought my medals in, a couple pictures, showed them the video, and, you know, they were really excited. So they know now. So, and it's a good thing because you want to share as much as you can. And the fact that I grew up here playing basketball at this very Boys and Girls Club can inspire some of them.
What made you want to come? Oh, I'm sorry, Jess, go.
Oh, go ahead.
But what made you want to come back home for this?
Well, I mean, home has always been home. It's just that my job has taken me other places. I built a home in Martinsburg in '97, and I knew once I retire and hang up my whistle from coaching that I'd come back to the Boys and Girls Club. I always let the executive chief of the Boys and Girls Club know that, you know, when I'm done, if there's a position for me to assist my community, because they did the same thing for me as an athlete, as a student, you want to give back. And it's not like it's, you know, oh, well, you're supposed to give back. It's not that kind of thing. It's like, I want to. This community, our community needs so much. And I just want to be that role model for a lot of kids.
You touched on the WNBA earlier, and you were really a part of the growth of that, the very beginning of it. And now Candace Parker is the first woman to be on the NBA 2K cover. How proud are you to see the progress and steps made for women in basketball?
Well, it's great because, you know, we didn't, you know, when we finished college, we had no option but to go overseas and play professionally. And, you know, a lot of people had their hands into developing, you know, a women's league. And then because of that, it allowed us to get so much exposure. And there's a lot of talent out there. So now these young ladies can, you know, build their families right here in the United States. They don't have to go overseas if they choose to. But it's been great. Candace Parker is actually another, you know, idol of mine that I can see the versatility in her game. You know, a lot of post players like myself were only limited to one area of the court. This young lady can play 1 through 5. And I hope, you know, the exposure to what she can do, young girls can do the same thing. So that's an awesome, you know, challenge for Candace, and she's lived up to it.
Did you go play overseas? Was there ever a point in your career where you went overseas?
Oh yeah, that's how I built my house. Yeah. After I graduated from University of Maryland, I spent 15 years abroad playing in Italy and Brazil. So until 97, I did both. I played home during the summer, and during the fall, I traveled back to Italy to Brazil to play 8 months. So I did that for 6 years, and then I retired and probably went back to play 4 more years. And your body says no, your mind and your bank account says yes, so you have to say no.
See, I've always wondered about that with the professional players who play overseas and also here. Was that by necessity? From what I understand, you can make a lot more money playing overseas than you can in the United States. Is that correct?
Yeah, at the time when we first started in 97, there was a cap to like the first place players. So it started out really slow with salaries, but yeah, a lot of the athletes would go overseas 8 months, and it's a longer season, and it's probably less, they played every Sunday. So you practice throughout the week, and, it wasn't that bad on your body, but yeah, you would make a whole lot more money, than you would, playing in the States. But now I still think overseas players, Donna Taurasi, those top players are probably still making a whole lot more overseas.
How does that then, how does that affect your personal life? Were you able to have relationships?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, I had a relationship with an Italian fella I met over there, wonderful person. But you want to come back home at one point. But I think we can make an adjustment. I think women are strong, we're empowered, we're independent. So, you have relationships when you can, just to keep your mind not just on basketball. Plus you develop families in Italy. I have just as many friends that are Italian and Brazilians that I do, Americans. So you form all different types of relationships and you hold tight to them. So yeah, family is important. And I think once the female athletes want to have family, they do both. I think it's an opportunity in a lifetime, and, try it, you may like it, and, you'll benefit it from it later.
You're still such an idol and such a hero for female empowerment. Did you ever expect a girl from Martinsburg to hold this role and still to this day hold this role as an inspiration for young women?
I mean, I tell you what, if I didn't have the parents I have, I don't think, my mentality to be who I am would ever be a legacy. If people would say, Vicky, you're a legend. I said, but only through the name of my father. So hats off to the family, the support that they gave me. Not having a good childhood could steer you away. But I had a great childhood. I'm fortunate to have brothers who were very, very supportive. But to come home and people know who you are and, still go, oh, that's Vicky Bullett. And they whisper, it's kind of unique because I go to the store now and they'll say, excuse me, are you Vicky? And then I say, yeah. So it's kind of neat that people haven't forgotten. And that's why coming home is essential for me because, my parents were able to go to the Olympics in '88 due to the fact that the community raised money to do so. So I'm in awe of giving back because they did the same thing for me.
It is such a wonderful community we have in Martinsburg and Berkeley County, these Eastern Panhandle around athletics. That had to be such a wonderful thing to be a part of.
Yeah, I just think it's, of course, every county, every city has its issues. And, if you can just touch a couple people and then get people on board of doing what's good. I'm surprised being a part of this Boys and Girls Club has opened the doors of what the people in the community are doing for us. I mean, it's amazing. And the school system, the partnerships with the police department, it's just so much. And I'm sure other communities are doing that, but to be inside of it, I was always on the outside, so I couldn't see. But now I'm on the inside and you can see the work that people are doing. I was just in a workshop yesterday with the Martinsburg Initiative. What an amazing, opportunity I had to be a part of people who think it's needed. And, these people are heroes too. They may not know their name, but I do now.
Now that you're back in Martinsburg, do you foresee yourself ever leaving again, or you think you're here for good?
I think I'm here for good. I said that when I left Wesleyan College. I said, you know what? I have a home. There's furniture, but I'm not in it. So I got tired of living out of a suitcase. I got tired of traveling, and I'll be 54 in October. So and I want to be close to home. My parents are a little older, and my nieces or nephews are growing up, and I don't know who they are. So it just brings you home. I think they're going to have to bury me under my house.
I have only one more Olympic related question, Jess, and if you have any, please cut in after this, but I'm interested to hear your thoughts on something I didn't even know existed until this year. Why do they have a 3-on-3 tournament in the Olympics now?
I don't know. I just think they're, spreading the opportunity for other Olympians to be a part of the sport. I mean, like you're surprised about the 3-on-3. I was surprised about the skateboard. I'm like, the skateboarding? Yeah. So, maybe they're trying to expand it, try to do something different, new rules. There's so many games. I think in a couple of years, they're going to have pickleball in there. I'm looking forward to that. Maybe I'll try to practice, and if I'm still alive, maybe try out for the pickleball team. So who knows?
Wow. Yeah, it just didn't make any sense to me because we already have national basketball teams. We already play basketball. What's really the difference between that and a 3-on-3 tournament?
Well, I think the 3-on-3 may have come about through the European League, because I'm not sure if they started it or not. I don't know who started it as a FIBA opportunity. I just don't know. But I think people were watching. I watched it. The rules are funny, but it's kind of yeah. So I don't know.
Are funny. they have the coach isn't allowed to talk. The coach isn't allowed to coach.
Yeah, the tennis, like tennis, you can't. The coach is not there. It's really crazy. I don't know. Only in America, I guess. I don't know.
So yeah, well, we usually like to finish things up with some fun questions.
Okay.
Unless if you have any more super serious questions, Jess.
No super serious ones.
No super serious ones. So now we got some fun ones.
Okay.
And I'll start with this.
Mm-hmm.
With all your travels and all your success, who's the most prominent celebrity you've met?
Muhammad Ali.
No kidding.
Yes, it was such a surprise because I remember like it was yesterday. In 1992, we had a break before we left to go to Barcelona, Spain. And we were on the beach just walking. It wasn't really a hot day because I remember having a sweatshirt on. And lo and behold, Muhammad Ali was walking on the beach with his wife. And the closer we got, I kept saying, and my mouth just like, oh my God, guys. And I was with 3 of my teammates, and she was taking Muhammad Ali out for a walk. And one of the most surprising, amazing stories that I could ever tell. So he was able to take a picture with us. We took the picture, and I still have that picture today. And, when he did some things, and then when he passed away, I always post that picture. And I don't remember really looking at him. I was just like so in shock. But that was probably the best moment to meet the celebrity, was meeting him.
We've seen Berkeley County and Martinsburg grow over the last infinite number of years.
Yeah.
What, past or present, what has been your favorite local shop in the area?
Oh man. Well, it's been so many. Well, now I spend a lot of times at Hobby Lobby, which is crazy. I don't that store, but I don't know. I'm usually just grocery shopping for my parents. I don't know. I guess Hobby Lobby, but Hobby Lobby wasn't here when I was younger. But now today I spend a lot of time not buying things, just going through the store, looking at all of the creative things that you could actually do. I thought of the pandemic, and I like, you know what? I probably could have built my own house with all the stuff that's in that Hobby Lobby store. But I'm artistically inclined. I'm creative. So that store kind of was like therapy to me when I just walk in and walk out and I never buy anything.
Good store just to walk through.
Yeah, it is. Just you could spend a lot of money in that store.
If your life didn't take you down the path of sports, what do you think you would be? What else would you have pursued?
Oh, probably education. I mean, I taught in the school system for 6 years. And then I went to Hagerstown Community College and coached and was a personal health instructor there. But anything with kids. I think right now I want to get into counseling and I want to work with students with, mental health issues. So, I'm trying to pursue another master's degree in that area, just contemplating, trying to wait for the right time and things like that. It's just working with people, trying to socialize, just trying to help in any kind of way. I mean, I've got a lot of friends that fall, short into their life. And I just want to be a help, be someone they can talk to and listen to and, encourage them to, find the path. And spiritually, I've been growing. So those things are right now are just, they're a good resource for me, let alone trying to expose it to others.
Do you have a favorite level of basketball, playing, coaching? Is there a favorite?
You know what? I love teaching. And I think I had an opportunity to coach with the WNBA. They called me to be an assistant. And not that the kids weren't, young ladies were good. It was boring. They knew everything, they knew everything. So after 1 year, I went back to middle school. I said, I can't do this. I want to work with the kids. I like to see them grow. And at any level, I always think the younger kids are therapy, because if you used to yell and fuss, you can't yell at little kids. So it's good therapy. But any level, I'm willing to instruct and, give what I've learned from my brothers and coaches. And I just want to pass it down.
I always ask some form of this question, but I'm going to put a different spin on this right now. When you were in the Olympic Village, do you remember having a particularly good meal?
Well, I don't miss too many meals, so everything I eat is good. See, I don't know. I don't know. Everybody may say, well, the food was here. Actually, I don't even remember.
It wasn't.
I know I had to eat, but yeah, I'm not sure what it is that was good. I always remember we had a lot of rice. So we ate a lot of rice, but there wasn't too many things I wouldn't try. I love to eat. So yeah, that's why I have to work out still today, because I can't pass up too many meals.
Yes, you got one more?
Yeah, I got one more. You touched on the pandemic with Hobby Lobby. Did you pick up a hobby or did you find a way to keep yourself entertained when we were all staying at home?
Well, you know what I did? It was the funniest thing, because I always kept, Vicky, I got to get some workout, equipment in my garage. And that's what I did. I live out on, 5 acres of land. So there was a lot of walking space. I got myself a spin bike and elliptical, but I'm creative. So I thought a lot of things, just even at my home to do, whether it's bicycling, whatever. I was good. It was actually peaceful just to not be able to go anywhere and just relax.
And I'll just ask you one final thing. When you're getting ready to play before the games, before maybe you do anything that you need to get amped up for, what do you listen to?
I don't think I should share it. They won't be surprised, but I love country music. So if you think I'm bopping my head to a rap song, no, it's probably Randy Travis, Dolly Parton, Rascal Flatts. Yeah, I'm big on country, but I would, tune into country music. It inspired me. It still does. So yeah.
That's fair enough. Vicky Bullett, thank you so much for joining us today. This was a huge pleasure. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Jessica, glad we had the opportunity. Nice to meet you both, and have a good week.
You too.
Take care.